Who do you want deciding your treatment?
NHS stroke care just went full AI. Life-saving speed for many, but not everyone's thrilled. Put the kettle on.
Resilient entrepreneur with Rodgers and Lee Sharp. AI news, live demos, mindset hacks and tool verdicts. One fast-moving show. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's go.
Welcome to this week's episode of Resilient Entrepreneur with me, Martin Rodgers, and your co-host, Lee Sharp. Welcome, Lee.
Hi, Martin. How are you doing this week?
Good, thank you very much. So this week, straight onto it, we've got the AI Newsflash, where we'll go through some news stories. Then we've got From the Frontline, where we're going to look at some prompts together. And then you're going to walk us through something that we spoke about last week, which was all about the MIT study and the impact that AI has on cognitive function?
Cognitive function. Is it decline or is it improving things? We'll see. We'll talk about it.
Are we getting smarter or dumber? I guess that's the question, right? Let's hop straight into the AI Newsflash.
Newsflash! This week's breakthrough could flip the rulebook on its head. Stay tuned.
We are looking at that stroke centres in England have been given an AI tool that will help 50% of patients recover quicker. And that's a good thing, isn't it, Lee? Surely.
I would have thought so. Anything that helps improve speed and accuracy and things. But I mean, you tell me, what's it saying in there?
First signals is that treatment time has been cut from 140 minutes to 79 minutes, which sounds great. Now, the only caveat to this is the British Medical Journal cautions that many imaging AIs don't yet save clinicians time and risk over-diagnosis.
Yeah, no, they're fair points. And in many ways, it links a bit to the news that I'm going to talk about in a minute with the risks of AI and clinician diagnosis. I mean, on the face of it, it's a good thing, right? It's It seems to have halved the treatment time. It seems to have improved outcomes.
The news is that NHS England is actually getting new, fresh technology that can help diagnose stroke. That's the important thing to do, and it will do it potentially faster, and that might help the NHS save money as well. Let's move on to your good self then. Let's have a look at because last week we spoke about the MIT article, just to refresh viewers thing, that it shows that because people aren't using their brain as much when using AI, they're just letting AI do all the heavy lifting. It's a bit like not using your own muscle. And you said you weren't aware of the article, but you will go away and have a look and research and come back to us. So
yeah, I did exactly that. Yeah, I did exactly that. So I mean, MIT's, everyone should be aware of, big university in America. They said that researchers and people using ChatGPT for essay writing generally showed lower brain activity, diminished creativity, and poorer memory retention. So they work less hard with their brain. They demonstrated less creativity during the process of writing the essay, and they failed to retain what they were working on higher numbers, which basically means that over time, users can become dependent on AI, and that can then show a persistent decline in that cognitive performance. That made me go further and say, well, what else is happening? What other studies are out there? So other areas have found that AI is jeopardizing deep thinking and creativity and ethical judgment because it's turning people into passive operators.
Wow.
What's that ending up doing? Well, that's causing a uniformity and a loss of original voice. So other articles and other findings have said how AI is creating homogenizing thought patterns. So because a lot of the training is being done from people with certain political leanings, let's say, those voices tend to be a bit stronger. Because a lot of science is done by what we call weird, Western educated, industrialized, rich, democratic countries, you end up with a lack of cultural diversity in what's being said. Now, that might still be the leading thoughts on the areas. That might still be the most popular thoughts on the areas. But that's why AI will drive you towards that, because purely based on the numbers, it's going to generate that as a more popular algorithm. So we can end up losing cultural diversity and individual voices. Now,
Lee, do you want me to share one of your screens here? No, not yet.
No, not at the minute. Well, actually, yeah, you
Sorry.
can. You can. You can do the sort of the main table of findings, which is fairly brief. Pressure on professionals, and this relates directly to the point you were just talking about with the doctors. AI can assist doctors, and it is, because it can improve diagnostic accuracy and efficiency. However, the Lancet, which is the medical journal, is already warning of significant cognitive cost, and that if there's an over-reliance on these diagnostic algorithms, that actually clinicians might lose their ability to do diagnostic reasoning and decision-making skills. So anyone that's aware of the TV show House, House would no longer be the genius House and coming up with these ideas. He would only be relying on what the AI is telling him. And I think that would have made for a very boring show and would clearly make development a bit harder. And if we focus on what we just said as well, that homogenized voice and single patterns of thinking, actually these diagnostic tools could simply be pushing in the wrong direction on occasions.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like sorry for interrupting for a second. It sounds like AI might polarize. Like, there's been a known thing, hasn't it, that social media polarizes us to have certain opinions one way or another, depending on what the algorithm has shown us more of or less of, right?
Yeah.
So rather than understanding different perspective and different sides of the story, we will only get shown one side of the story. So again, it's a bit like algorithms can be really handy, but also I've found, like, just listening to music, for example, I have to break the algorithm, or all I'm going to get shown is the same music over and over again. I'm not going to get introduced to different flavors and different tastes. And I think one of the things you're saying to us here is, correct me if I'm wrong, AI is in danger of doing a similar thing.
I don't even think it's in danger of doing it. I think it's set up to do it. But it's not deliberate. You can tell it not to, right? You can go in and say, I want to hear the voices you're not telling me. And we did an episode on this a while back where you could specifically say, okay, you've told me all of this. Now tell me all the voices that you're not telling me. Because it will only pick out the most popular ones. You could have a new scientific opinion that could develop, and it could be right. But if it's against the consensus of science, you are going to see the consensus of science unless you ask it not to.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we've got to teach people, to question it and ask for these different voices. That's what we're going to be repeating over and over again.
So to continue with, I really did do a deep dive, Martin. So a survey by Workday. Now, Workday is particularly popular in America. 75% of workers said they're comfortable working with AI, which is way higher numbers than we've seen in some of the other things that we've done.
It's crazy.
Only 30% of people are okay with AI telling them what to do or telling them how to do it. So people like it if they deem it's working for them, but if it's working against them or telling them what to do, people are nowhere near as happy to do it. And of the people that took part in that study, nearly half of them reported increased workload as a result of AI and reduced critical thinking when AI tools become pervasive.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that's dawned on me there, it is, I am fascinated by how easy people are adapting to AI, right? And I remember back in the day when I first ever got a sat nav and a GPS, right? And I had to have a little magnet thing on the roof of my car and a wire come all the way down into this Toshiba PDA, and it was about that size, right? And it was the most magical thing ever. It was like, this technology is like magic. It's amazing. It's incredible. Yeah. Now AI comes along and it can write essays for us. It can do cognitive tasks beyond most of our cognitive abilities, right? Beyond most of our mental abilities. And yet most people are like, okay, cool. I mean, fine, it can do it. It doesn't seem to wow people, but yet it is a technology way beyond any power that we've seen before, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, just to summarize, you've got it on the screen there, really. So memory and learning, performance gains offset by reduced retention and creativity, critical thinking, over-reliance can encourage cognitive offloading, and that can reduce our analytical and evaluation skills. You're going to get less original stuff, more homogeneous responses. AI can help professionals, but can erode judgment and skills over time, and eventually can reduce our ability to think properly on certain aspects and things in the long run.
Cool. Okay. Well, it's not cool, but so it's like any other kind of power tool, right? Isn't it? A power tool saw, for example, it can saw off my hand in a few seconds. Mm-hmm. I need to understand how to use it safely. That's the thing, yeah?
Yeah. It's a bit like an espresso, right? 1 cup can sharpen your thinking, but 10 cups and you're twitching in the corner wondering if the motion you're doing is progress or just a reaction to the caffeine. Yeah. So the trick isn't to outthink the machine, it's to use it to scaffold your own thoughts. Okay, it can't replace your thoughts. If that's what it's doing, then you're going to get very lazy, and pretty soon you're going to become overwhelmed with the tools, because you're just going to use the tools. It's going to give you output, but you're not really thinking straight about what to do with it. So if you let AI do all the heavy lifting, your brain will atrophy. But if you engage your brain first, and then you compare what you were thinking with the outputs, then you've effectively hired the smartest sparring partner in history.
Yes.
And boundaries matter for that very reason, right? You wouldn't invite your coffee barista to come into your bedroom. So don't let ChatGPT follow you into your evenings. Create no-go zones, let your brain wander, daydream, and, heaven forbid, actually let your brain be bored sometimes. That's where creativity can live. So on balance, AI isn't destroying our cognition. It's sort of displacing it. If you're careless, it will displace it into the void. But if you're smart, it will displace it into higher order thinking, judgment, empathy, and imagination. So the AI rule is simple, really. It should help you think differently, not think less. So treat it like a prosthetic for the mind. It's useful, it's powerful, but it's never a substitute for the muscles that you still need to exercise. And with that in mind, I've created 5 rules for cognitive healthy use of AI, which I think you can share on the screen, Martin.
There we go. 5 rules for cognitive healthy AI use.
So I've given you some whys, hows, and benefits. Okay, so engage yourself before you delegate. Why? Research shows memory and comprehension are stronger if you try it first and then use AI. So how are we going to do that? You're going to draft an outline of what you think. You're going to try and solve the problem yourself or brainstorm potential ideas. And then once you've done that, put it into AI and see what AI comes up with. That keeps your brain active rather than slipping into passivity. Second one, use AI to reduce load, not noise. Why? Cognitive overload fuels stress and burnout. We've talked about stress and burnout before. My workplace excellence program and wellbeing MOT can help you decide whether you're stressed or burned out. But how do we do this? Well, we limit ourselves. Now, you and I have talked about multiple GPTs, right? ChatGPT has got loads of in itself. It is really helpful if you can figure out which tool is most useful for you and to use it for one purpose at a time. Don't ask it to do multiple things. That is definitely an error that I've made before in asking it, hey, go and redesign my business and come up with some plans. And it does. And then it just gives you too much to do. So you really need to come up with a method of minimizing that. And that will help you preserve your attention, lower that decision fatigue, and protect you against burnout. Identity rather than output. AI can make us feel like we can be replaced if we don't have values, if we don't have judgment, empathy, values, and applying our lived experience. So by doing that, we can build resilience. And then give yourself time for reflection loops as well. So studies show critical thinking improves when humans review, question, and refine the AI outputs. So always ask, do I agree with this? What's missing? How would I explain it without AI? That keeps the analytical part of your brain engaged and can prevent the atrophy that we talked about. And then finally, boundaries with those bots, right? If we overuse it, we're going to get anxious, we're going to get fatigued, we're going to have sleep disruption. So create proper AI free zones and protect your mental bandwidth.
It's interesting because when we come on to from the front line in a minute, I've now got your rules in the back of my mind and whether we're following your rules while we're doing this prompt. But that's been amazing, Lee. Thank you very much for the insights. I'm going to move swiftly on to the front line, if that's okay with your good self.
Yeah, Martin. But Martin, that's why in many ways we often don't talk about what we're going to talk about, because it may well be that you're now going to demonstrate a little bit of, is that really going to be super helpful or not? And actually that generates conversation between you and I, and rather than it be manipulated and it all just flows perfectly, because that's not how life is. That's not how people are. Sometimes things rub up against each other.
From the front line, watch as we demo a game-changing AI prompt and show business owners how to put it to work.
So guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a prompt and we'll walk through it bit by bit about getting AI to be a business-to-business content specialist. Let me just walk you through a couple of the points in this prompt. So first of all, it's telling the AI how to act and behave, right? So that it knows what expertise and what kind of knowledge to draw on. Then this prompt is going to give some context about who it's actually working for, who it's helping for. So when you get this resource from the resiliententrepreneur.co.uk website, you hopefully be able to get this resource shortly and be able to use this prompt yourself. And you need to look at things like how many staff is it saying you've got, right? You do write in plain English, friendly, professional with no hype, or whether you do have hype. So look at some of these things and adjust them, update them to be appropriate for you and your requirements. Now, here we've got context. What's the subject we want it to write about as a context specialist? Let's say AI and GDPR, for example, yeah? And I'll come on to why that might be. Who's my audience for this? Owners, managing directors, seniors operate, okay, in SMEs with 10 to 15 staff. So we're just repeating a little bit, and maybe we could make this prompt a little bit more concise by just saying, just not repeating the stuff that's already in the above, right? Choose one of these to say, what's the goal that we actually want it to do? So I'm going to say, generate leads, secondary goals, like the standard kind of objection stuff that you'd want in a blog. And then what's it going to do next? It's going to create, I'm telling it what tasks and output I want it to deliver from this prompt as well. And then it's got a few things that you might want to put in there, like, and also that you want a weekly LinkedIn and blog mini plan, the cadence of how you want that, the output, how you want that angled, that you want a video as well. You can see it's a reasonably comprehensive prompt, isn't it, Lee?
I mean, that's very comprehensive. I mean, there'll be people will probably need a bit of time to look through that and see exactly what it's asking. But when it spits out what you've asked it to, it almost becomes clearer. Yeah. And of course, you can even tell it where to look up as well, right? If you do know the sources that you trust, that you want it to summarize, you can tell it to look there, as well as taking in other inputs. But you can tell it to focus on the ones that you trust more than the ones you don't trust.
Correct, absolutely. So quite a quick overview of the prompt there, Lee. What do you think to it?
Yeah, I think that's a good prompt. And again, if people are out there and they've got their own business needs, they could very easily take that prompt, amend it to reflect their business, and they would end up getting some really good ideas and prompts about what to be doing and writing about over the coming weeks, if they were unsure of what they wanted to do themselves, or even if they wanted to check what they were already planning on doing against what this brilliant sparring partner suggests. Yeah. It might just reinforce that you were already doing it. It might give you some other ideas. It might send you down a path that you don't want to go down. But again, that's where the human thought element comes in, and making sure we're not just blindly following it.
Tool or trash? We thrash test today's gizmo and call the verdict game changer or garbage bin.
NeuronWriter is a specialized tool. I suppose it is a GPT, in fact, in a similar way that it's designed to write blog articles. But what it also does is, one of the things that AI has not done in that particular prompt that we've just shown there, it's not really done much research around what's already out there at the present moment, what's ranking well with Google at the present moment.
Yeah.
How are things structuring? So it's not looked at what the blog structure is existing out there on the internet and gone, oh, okay, this is what Google likes. This is how Google is evaluating this, and this is what is ranking well for the audience and for Google's SEO. There's always, when you're trying to get your blog out to your audience, and that's what we're all trying to do really, is we have an audience ourselves, right? So if I was selling Bibles, we want to know where the Christians are and want the Christians to always know, come and find our blog articles, right? Or come and find our versions of Bibles. So, but to do that in this day and age, right, we don't just go to the nearest church and hand out Bibles. What we have to try and do is we have to get our audience to come to us. And like what I spoke about before, there's various forms of traffic. And one of the ones that a lot of us are always after is organic traffic, which is perceived as free. But really, if you think about the amount of time and effort you have to put in, it's actually still cost money, just like cost money, yeah?
Yeah.
So let me show, without further ado, let me show you NeuronWriter, and then you can tell me whether this is tool or trash.
I think I've trashed most of them so far, haven't I?
I've got a little bit of setup here already. This is NeuronWriter. So here it's showing me a load of articles based on what the Success Academy is about and what I've already told it my projects are about the Success Academy to rank for on Google. Now, to try and have some comparison to how ChatGPT went, I'm going to choose this UK GDPR. So all I need to do is click on that. It's already done a bit of research. Now, here's the bit where it's going to show me what people have already wrote about, what's ranking well, what's their content score. And what I need to do is I need to look, make sure it's selected the right ones, right? So, for example, the Information Commissioner Officer, I might not want to compare to their content because I don't think it's going to be very good, for example. So I'll switch them off. And I'll switch the AI and data protection one on from UK practical law. Now, what it's not going to do, and this is really important, is it's not going to copy their article. It's going to model what works well for an audience, yeah? So we're not just generating out the same rubbish, really. We're taking it, we're putting our own spin on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to load that up. And then it's going to have, what it's doing now is it's assessing all those articles. It's reading a little bit more in depth to understand a little bit more about those articles so that it can decide how to write the content that we want it to write. And that's as much filler as I can come up with while it's loading. So hopefully it'll load up soon. If not, I've got a bit of an editing job to do after this. Here we go. Brilliant, perfect timing. So again, in the essence of time for today's episode, I'm going to just quickly show you something. I'm going to generate a title for this. It's giving me some examples here on the right hand side. I'm then going to generate a meta description for it. Then I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to go long form content designer. I'm going to get rid of ICO because that doesn't suit me either. And then this is where you can get two systems to work for you together. So I'm going to screenshot this. Now, previously what I would have done was that where it says content requirements, I would have wrote that all out myself. Actually, what I'm doing now is I'm nipping into ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it to actually write that for me. I've taken a screenshot of that screen, and then the only thing I've asked GPT to do is, can you fill this in? So now it's reading the screenshot to know what I'm trying to do, and then it's going to create a content brief structure that I can just copy and paste back in. Now, this is probably breaking some of the rules that you just spoke about, Lee, because this is the bit where really I should be putting my own thought and background into it to say what I want the article to be like.
Well, I mean, but you would do that if you were doing this for real. We're doing it as a demonstration. We absolutely would do that if it was for real. And anyone watching out there would have a good idea what they're trying to do and would be able to put that in. It's also using two tools where we were trying to minimize them. But as long as you know what the tools are doing and you're getting the best out of them, I don't think that goes against our 5 guidelines anyway.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Lee, and I agree completely. So ChatGPT is now giving me these few lines which I can use, right? So it's outlined exactly what we want. It's kind of, because I used it in the same chat box as what I'd created the prompt on originally, it's also copied across who I am and what I'm working for, right? So I could change that if I wanted to. Now, this is a paid-for platform.
But if somebody's role or job was very much creating detailed content, this would be a tremendous tool and sparring partner, right?
Absolutely. Like for me, I want people to know about how AI impacts data protection. So this is a blog that you will see on the Success Academy website shortly when it's actually been done, and I've fact-checked it and I've gone into each of the things to say that it does, because I don't think a lot of us, we spoke about this briefly in another episode, that I don't think a lot of people understand where GDPR and data protection and AI overlap or conflict with each other. So here we've got an article. It's even put some picture placements in there. Now, there's the article. I'm just going to scan through it. Obviously, you've not got time to read this as such, Lee, today, to give a little bit of a judgment on tool or trash. But I could also here as well, just to show you, generate images, right? So I'll show you this one little feature, and then you can give me the verdict, tool or trash. So it's giving me some ideas based on the context of the blog, right? So let's say a group of diverse individuals discussing data privacy in a meeting room. Now just click that and say, yeah, I want a 16:9 cartoon version. And there you go. Right, so then I can use that article, use that image. If I wanted to, I could export that. Now I can export that in HTML, Word document if I want to send that on to another member of the team. I could also add my team into the system. So, Lee, tool or trash this week?
I mean, it's definitely a tool. That one I think would take quite a bit of time to get the hang of fully. What is that fair or not really? Is it just because I'm looking at it and we've sped through it quickly? I mean, realistically, Martin, if someone uses that, how long do they need to sort of
get to grips with it fully, to understand the process of where you put inputting stuff and how to make it a bit more unique? There's a few boxes that we didn't fill in about the persona that I'm trying to write for, the project overview, etc. I would probably evaluate 2 hours, 3 hours, absolute max, to kind of go through NeuronWriter's training videos.
In which case, it's definitely a tool, right? Because that has just produced that's just produced an article that realistically would take somebody at least 2 or 3 hours to write if they did it from scratch, if not more.
Yeah.
And it's created it quicker, done the research for you. So even if it took a whole day, even if it took a couple of days, in the long run, that would be time saved. So I think that one's definitely a tool. Is it a tool that I'm going to use? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Not right now. There's too many other things going on. But yeah, I think it would be one that once you've got certain other basics in place and you want to start producing lots of written content, I think that would be a brilliant one.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We've got a dash this week. We've all got busy schedules. Hopefully we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Resilient Entrepreneur with Martin Rodgers and Lee Sharp. Snag the download of the week. Subscribe for more AI news, live demos, and mindset wins. Stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.